Welcome back to a new episode of the Coaching Hive podcast. I am curious to know, when you look at your website, do you feel like it tells your story? Or do you feel like it tells the story of your potential customer or client? So often when we go to a website, it puts all of the information about that website owner up front and center. And that creates confusion. So I'm curious to know, when you go to your website, are you telling your story, or are you telling the story of your client or potential client? I cannot wait to jump into this topic with you today. Knowing how to share your message is critical to being able to build your business so that it is profitable. If you're ready to get started, learn more about this, grab your notebook, grab your tablet, whatever you're taking notes on today. And with our theme of simplicity, clarity, and vision for 2022 in mind, let's get in there. Let's jump in right now. I'm Dr. Maura, and this is the Coaching Hive podcast. Okay, so I asked you a question at the start of this podcast just a moment ago. In fact, I said, are you telling your story, or are you telling the story of your client on your homepage when you go to your website? Is it all about you, or is it about the client? And this is something that many entrepreneurs struggle with. It is common to put information about who they are as an entrepreneur because you're trying to build authority and trust, right? People don't want to work with someone they don't know or trust. So you're putting that information out there. You're sharing what you do, your certifications, you're sharing your experience, you are sharing all of the things. And your clients aren't responding. You're wondering why. You have worked really hard on this copy. You've worked really hard on your website, and you feel proud. It's beautiful, but you're not getting any traction. So today, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about your message. Your message, if you've been following me for any length of time, needs to be about the client. This past week, I was doing some website reviews. I often, once a quarter, like to give back. And one day out of that quarter, I sit down and I open up my calendar and I say, if you want your website reviewed, let's spend 15 minutes together. I will give you one action item to implement today. And so this past week was that day. I sat down with quite a few entrepreneurs, and almost always this website was focused on them. And I understand it. Having a PhD, having a national board certification as a health and wellness coach, being a StoryBrand certified guide. Yes, I'm proud. I have accomplished and done a lot so that I am better capable of serving my clients. Of course, I want you to know that. But when I go to the website, I actually want to know as a client how you can, what it looks like to work with you. How is my life going to be different? I want that story to be about me as a potential client. So as you go to the Coaching Hive website, if you go to www.coachinghive.com, you won't see anything about my expertise until you scroll a little while. And even then, it will be subtle. It's not until you dig in further that you learn a little bit more about my credentials. And that's on purpose, because the focus is going to be on my potential client, you. I want you to know when you get to my website what the transformation looks like. How is your life going to be different having worked with me? Whether you're working with me on messaging, working on building your business with the Coaching Hive Blueprint, whatever that looks like, I want you to know your life, what your life will look like. I'm going to share with you a little bit more about what I offer, but it's based on what you want. I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of it, not just the features, but the benefits. Because what I'm doing is I want you to feel like you're part of your own story, that I'm not the front person there. I'm not the person at the foremost of the story. I'm just simply a guide. I'm walking alongside you, but I am not the hero of your story. You are. That's the way we want our potential clients to feel. So when you go to your website, how is your potential client going to feel? Will they feel like, wow, this person gets me. They understand where I want to be. And it sounds like they have a way to help me get there. I want those benefits. I want what that's offering. Or when they come to your website, are they learning more about what you do, what your certifications are, what authority you have to help them? If you answered that it's more about you, the good news is you can make that shift. You can make a shift to focus more on the client. And if you're not quite sure, the good news is that there are plenty of people out there that can help you identify how to make those tweaks. But the key here is that when you are thinking about your messaging, thinking about your website, you want to highlight what the client wants to be. Who do they want to be after having worked with you? Now, this is a super short episode because it's kind of a big action item. So let's talk a little bit about our action item for the week. If you are new to the Coaching Hive podcast, I try to give you an action item each week that you can work on that will help you to grow your business instead of getting stuck. So the action item for this week is to write down on a piece of paper or on your tablet, your Remarkable, whatever it is, write down who your client wants to be. And then go to your website. Once you have that sentence or two, even if it's a word or two, that's great. I want you to go to your website. And with that in mind, write down all of the places that you have addressed that. Either how you help them get there, what they want, what their life will look like, what might happen if they don't make a change. I want you to note where the story on your website circles around the client. And then I also want you to note where it highlights you, where it's truly focused on you. And if you find that more of it's focused on you than on what the client wants to be, who the client wants to be, then you have an opportunity to make a shift this week. So first up, who does your client want to be? Then go to your website and kind of notice the balance here. We want it to be primarily about the potential client. If you're already there, awesome. Look for ways to tweak based on what you wrote down. And if you're not there, think about what one shift can you make on your webpage today that will invite your potential client into their story. This is something that we focus on in the website reviews I was talking about, but also as a StoryBrand certified guide, I sit down with entrepreneurs like you, and we talk about all of these things. We talk about what it looks like when the client experiences a transformation. We start detailing all of this information because the more detail you have, the easier it is to make updates to things like your website or to your social media posts or to your emails that go out to your potential clients. That's it. Today, take a look at your website. See if it aligns with your client or if it aligns with you. And then start identifying ways to adjust if you're already pretty much there, where the focus is on the client. If you're not quite there yet, what's one thing you could adjust today? And it might be looking at the header and saying, I need to make sure that my client sees themselves in this header text. So right when you open a website, right at the very top of your website, that header space, that's what it's called, header. Make sure that you're addressing your potential client. And once you've done that, feel excited, pat yourself on the back. That can take some time to clarify, but I'm keeping this episode purposely short so that you can go do that and dig in a little bit. If you feel like you need some help with that, please reach out. Go to www.coachinghive.com and click the Apply Now button. We will set up a time to talk and think about what the next steps are for you so that you can clarify that message and really make sure that not just your website, but your message as a whole is working for you in a way that attracts the clients you want to attract and repels the clients that aren't a great fit for your services. Okay. As we wrap up today, I just want to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, coming back week after week, and for being in touch, for sharing your ideas and sharing your questions and your concerns. If you got something out of today's episode, please remember, leave a review, rate the podcast. That helps us to reach more people. It also helps me to know what content you like best so that I can keep planning more of that and to best address the questions that you have. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me on Instagram at Coaching Hive or on Facebook at Coaching Hive Life. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today. I look forward to seeing you back here next week for another episode of the Coaching Hive podcast, where a focus on mentoring and community removes the overwhelm of building your successful and profitable business and adds in a dose of momentum. Until next time, have a healthy, safe, and happy week.